You open the fridge every morning and there it is, that little tub of cream cheese sitting right next to the butter, looking all innocent. You spread it on your toast, you dollop it into your pasta, you slather it on a bagel and think you are doing yourself a favor. But here is the thing most Kiwis never stop to consider. That cream cheese you have been trusting might not even be real cheese at all. Some of these tubs are stuffed with phosphate emulsifiers, thickeners, artificial flavors, and preservatives that have no business near your breakfast table. And the worst part is the brands doing this are the ones you see everywhere, the ones with the friendly packaging and the familiar names. Go ahead and subscribe, I'll tell you everything. Number 5 on the list of cream cheeses you need to stop buying is the Woolworths cream cheese spread. Now look, I have got nothing against Woolworths as a supermarket. They stock good fruit, they have decent bread, and their checkout queues move at a reasonable pace most of the time. But their cream cheese spread is a different story altogether, and it is one of those products where you really need to slow down and have a proper look at what is actually inside the tub before you go throwing it in the trolley. Because when you flip it over and read the ingredients, you are going to find a list that reads less like a dairy product and more like a chemistry homework assignment from a particularly enthusiastic Year 12 student. The first thing that should make you raise an eyebrow is the mineral salts. Specifically, we are talking about additive 452, which is polyphosphate, and additive 339, which is sodium phosphate. Now these are not just random numbers on a label. These are phosphate-based emulsifiers, and they exist for one reason and one reason only, which is to force ingredients that do not naturally want to be together to act like they are best mates. Water and fat do not mix on their own. Everyone knows that from primary school science. So these phosphates step in and do the job that a real cheese culture would do if the product were made properly in the first place. The European Food Safety Authority, which is one of the most rigorous food safety bodies on the planet, conducted a massive re-evaluation of phosphate food additives back in 2019. What they found was concerning enough that they set, for the very first time, an acceptable daily intake limit for phosphates. They found that high phosphate consumption has a direct negative impact on kidney function. And here is the part that should really make you sit up and pay attention. They estimated that roughly 10% of the general population suffers from some degree of chronic kidney disease, and for those people, the acceptable daily intake they established is not even protective enough. That means 1 in 10 Kiwis walking around the supermarket right now cannot safely tolerate the amount of phosphates that regulators consider acceptable for the general population. And yet there those phosphates sit, right on the label of this cream cheese spread, nice as you please. But the phosphates are not even the whole story with this one. The Woolworths cream cheese spread also contains sugar, actual sugar, in a cream cheese. Now I want you to think about that for a moment. Real cream cheese is made from cream and milk and salt and a starter culture. That is it. There is no universe in which sugar needs to be part of that equation. The sugar is there because when you strip out the quality of the ingredients and pad the product out with water and stabilizers, you need something to make it taste appealing, and sugar does that job very cheaply. On top of the sugar, you have got preservatives in the form of nisin, potassium sorbate, and sorbic acid. 3 different preservatives in a single cream cheese spread. 3. Nisin is an antimicrobial that is used to stop bacteria growing in the product, which tells you something about how the product is made in the first place, because a properly cultured cream cheese with a living starter culture manages its own bacterial environment naturally. Potassium sorbate, additive 202, is a synthetic preservative that some research has linked to genotoxic activity when combined with other food additives, particularly nitrites, and sorbic acid is its chemical cousin, doing the same job from a slightly different angle. So what you end up with is a tub that contains phosphate emulsifiers, added sugar, 3 different preservatives, and a stabilizer called cellulose gum, which is additive 466, a chemically modified cellulose that is essentially processed wood pulp used to give the spread a texture that mimics the creaminess of real cheese. That is not cream cheese, mate. That is an engineering project. Number 4 on the list of cream cheeses you should leave on the shelf is the Laughing Cow. Now I know what you are thinking. The Laughing Cow is not exactly marketed as a premium cream cheese. It comes in those little foil-wrapped triangles, and it has got a cartoon cow on the front that looks like she has just heard the funniest joke at a barbecue. But here is the thing. Plenty of Kiwis buy the Laughing Cow and use it exactly the way they would use cream cheese. They spread it on crackers, they put it in sandwiches, they give it to their kids in lunchboxes, and they think of it as a convenient, harmless little cheese product. The reality is that the Laughing Cow is one of the most heavily processed cheese products you can buy in New Zealand, and it barely qualifies as cheese by any traditional definition of the word. The Laughing Cow is a product of the Bell Group, a massive French multinational that also makes Babybel and Kiri. It is distributed in New Zealand through Hutchinson's, and it lands on our supermarket shelves after a manufacturing process that involves taking real cheese, melting it down, mixing it with a cocktail of emulsifying salts and stabilisers, and then reforming it into those neat little triangles. The emulsifying salts in processed cheese like the Laughing Cow typically include various phosphates and citrates, and their job is to break apart the natural calcium-protein bonds in the cheese and replace them with sodium-based bonds that create that smooth, spreadable, almost plastic-like texture. That is not a texture that occurs in nature. That is a texture that is manufactured through chemical intervention. The problem with this process, beyond the obvious fact that you are no longer eating real cheese, is that the phosphate load in processed cheese products tends to be significantly higher than in other dairy products. Research published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition has found that phosphorus additives in ultra-processed foods are associated with gut dysbiosis, which is a disruption of the healthy balance of bacteria in your digestive system. And sodium additives in these same products have been linked to difficulties in managing blood pressure. When you combine the phosphate load with the sodium content of a product like the Laughing Cow, you are looking at a double hit to your cardiovascular system that most people would never associate with a tiny little triangle of cheese in a lunchbox. And the irony is that the Laughing Cow markets itself as a fun, wholesome product for families and children, when in reality it is one of the most chemically manipulated cheese-adjacent items you can find in the chilled section of any New Zealand supermarket. Leave the triangles where they are, I reckon. Your crackers deserve better. Number 3 on the list of cream cheeses that should not be in your trolley is Tararua Traditional Cream Cheese. Now this one is particularly interesting because Tararua is a brand that a lot of Kiwis associate with genuine New Zealand dairy quality. The name itself conjures images of green paddocks and rolling hills and cows munching happily in the Wairarapa. It sounds about as authentically Kiwi as a meat pie at the rugby. But when a columnist from the New Zealand Herald actually sat down and compared the ingredients of Tararua Traditional Cream Cheese against its competitors, what she found was genuinely surprising, and not in a good way. Tararua is owned by Goodman Fielder, which is one of the largest food companies operating in Australasia. And the ingredients list on their so-called traditional cream cheese reads like this: cream, milk solids, salt, acidity regulator 270, emulsifiers 450, 452, 451, and 339, thickener 401, and natural flavour. Now let us break that down because those numbers deserve to be translated into plain English. The acidity regulator 270 is lactic acid, which is fair enough on its own, but then you hit the emulsifiers, and that is where things go properly sideways. 450 is diphosphate, 452 is another form of polyphosphate, 451 is triphosphate, and 339 is sodium phosphate. That is 4 separate phosphate-based emulsifiers in a single tub of cream cheese, 4 of them. Each one doing the same basic job of forcing water and fat to stay blended together in a product that, if it were made the traditional way with a proper culture, would not need any of them. But here is the part that really got the journalist from the Herald worked up, and rightly so. Tararua Traditional Cream Cheese does not contain a starter culture. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. This product, which is called cream cheese, does not contain the bacterial culture that is fundamentally required to make cheese. Without a starter culture, you do not have fermentation. Without fermentation, you do not have cheese. What you have is a mixture of cream, milk solids, and a collection of chemical additives that are designed to make the mixture taste and feel like cream cheese. The Herald journalist went so far as to say that in her opinion, this product is not technically a cheese at all. It is an imitation, an analog, a cheese-flavored spread wearing a very convincing disguise. And it also contains something listed simply as natural flavor, which is an umbrella term that can cover a wide range of flavoring compounds. The fact that a cream cheese needs added flavor to taste like cream cheese tells you everything you need to know about what is actually going on inside that tub. The thickener, additive 401, is sodium alginate, which is derived from seaweed and is used to give the product a thick, creamy consistency that it cannot achieve on its own, because again, it is not real cheese. Now look, sodium alginate is not the worst thing in the world. It is used in molecular gastronomy and all sorts of applications. But it has no place in a product that calls itself traditional cream cheese. There is nothing traditional about a cream cheese that needs seaweed extract and 4 different phosphates just to hold itself together. Number 2 on the list of cream cheeses you should be avoiding is Anchor Cream Cheese Original. Now this is where things start to get uncomfortable for a lot of people, because Anchor is one of the most trusted dairy brands in New Zealand. It has been around for donkey's years, it is made by Fonterra, which is now transitioning to lactalis, and it has that reassuring image of New Zealand cows grazing on lush green pastures. Most Kiwis would put Anchor cream cheese in their trolley without a second thought, and I understand why. The branding is solid, the price is reasonable, and the tub looks like it contains exactly what you would expect from a proper New Zealand dairy product. But when you actually read the ingredients, the story changes. Anchor Cream Cheese Original contains cream, skim milk, milk solids, mineral salts 450, 452, 451, and 339, salt, acid in the form of lactic acid, stabilizer 401, and flavor. Read that list again carefully. Mineral salts 450, 452, 451, 339. Those are the exact same phosphate-based emulsifiers that we just talked about with Tararua. Diphosphate, polyphosphate, triphosphate, and sodium phosphate. 4 of them. In an Anchor product. From New Zealand's biggest dairy company. The same phosphates that the European Food Safety Authority has flagged as potentially harmful to kidney function. The same phosphates that research has linked to cardiovascular risk and bone density loss. The same phosphates that are particularly dangerous for the roughly 10% of the population with compromised kidney function. They are all right there on the label, hiding behind the innocuous term mineral salts. And just like Tararua, Anchor Cream Cheese Original also contains added flavor, not a starter culture doing its natural work and developing complex flavors through fermentation. Just flavor. An additive designed to make the product taste the way you expect cream cheese to taste, because without it, this particular formulation would taste flat and unremarkable. The stabilizer 401 is sodium alginate, the same seaweed-derived thickener we saw in the Tararua product, and it is there for the same reason, to give the product a thick, creamy mouthfeel that it cannot achieve through its ingredients alone. What is particularly frustrating about Anchor Cream Cheese Original is that Fonterra, or Lactalis as they are now becoming, absolutely has the capability to make a clean, simple cream cheese with real ingredients. We know this because their NZMP traditional cream cheese, which is their business-to-business ingredient brand, won the Champion Fresh Unripened Cheese Trophy at the 2025 New Zealand Champions of Cheese Awards. That product is made by fermenting pasteurized whole milk with fresh cream. Proper fermentation. Proper cheese. But that level of quality apparently does not make it into the consumer Anchor tub that sits on supermarket shelves. Instead, what you get is phosphates and flavoring and thickeners. And that, frankly, is a bit of a letdown from a brand that has built its entire reputation on the quality of New Zealand dairy. Subscribe to show that these videos do help and do make sense. And number 1 on the list of cream cheeses you need to stop buying immediately is Meadow Fresh Original Cream Cheese. And look, I know this is going to upset some people because Meadow Fresh is a brand that has been in New Zealand fridges for as long as most of us can remember. It has got that clean, green, wholesome look about it. The packaging practically screams fresh paddocks and morning dew and all those lovely images of pastoral New Zealand life. But the reality of what is inside the tub is about as far from a fresh paddock as you can possibly get, and it is time someone said it plainly. Meadow Fresh Original Cream Cheese contains cream, milk solids, salt, acidity regulator 270, emulsifiers 450, 452, 451, and 339, thickener 401, and natural flavor. If that list looks familiar, it is because it is virtually identical to the Tararua ingredients list. And that should not surprise anyone, because Meadow Fresh and Tararua are both owned by the same parent company, Goodman Fielder. They are siblings wearing different outfits, same factory processes, same industrial additives, same fundamental approach to making something that is sold as cream cheese, but is not made the way cream cheese is supposed to be made. The 4 phosphate emulsifiers in Meadow Fresh are the same ones we have been talking about throughout this entire video. Diphosphate, polyphosphate, triphosphate, and sodium phosphate. And the reason Meadow Fresh lands at number 1 on this list is not just because of those phosphates, although they would be reason enough on their own. It is because of the sheer volume of Meadow Fresh cream cheese that Kiwis consume without ever questioning what they are eating. Meadow Fresh is one of the most widely distributed dairy brands in New Zealand. It is in every countdown, every new world, every puck and save, every four square from Kaitaia to Bluff. Millions of Kiwis are spreading this product on their toast every single morning and feeding it to their children in sandwiches every single day, and the vast majority of them have absolutely no idea that what they are eating is essentially an industrial emulsion of cream, milk solids, and chemical additives that has been designed in a laboratory to mimic the taste and texture of real cream cheese. There is no starter culture in this product. There is no fermentation. There is no natural cheese-making process happening at any stage of production. It is a manufactured imitation, and the natural flavor additive on the label exists specifically because without it, the product would not taste like cream cheese at all. It would taste like what it actually is, which is a bland, flavorless paste of cream and milk powder held together by phosphates and seaweed extract. And here is what really grinds my gears about the whole situation. New Zealand is one of the greatest dairy nations on earth. We have some of the best milk, some of the best cream, some of the cleanest pastures, and some of the most capable cheesemakers anywhere in the world. And yet the cream cheese that most Kiwis buy every week is a product that does not even contain a cheese culture. That is not just disappointing. It is an insult to the quality of New Zealand dairy. So leave the Meadow Fresh original cream cheese on the shelf. Walk right past it. Because there are options on those same shelves that are made properly, with real ingredients, by people who actually care about making real cheese. And those are the ones we are going to talk about now. Number 5 on the list of cream cheeses you should actually be buying is Pam's cream cheese. Now before you roll your eyes at the idea of a supermarket house brand making it onto the recommended list, hear me out, because Pam's has quietly done something that the bigger, flashier brands apparently cannot be bothered doing. They have made a cream cheese with a genuinely simple and clean ingredients list. Pam's cream cheese contains pasteurized milk and cream, salt, lactic acid culture, and stabilisers 412 and 410. That is it. 5 ingredients. And the most important one on that list, the one that separates Pam's from the likes of Meadow Fresh, Anchor, and Tararua, is the lactic acid culture. That is a real starter culture. That means this product undergoes actual fermentation, which is the fundamental process that turns milk and cream into cheese. Without that culture, you do not have cheese. With it, you do, and Pam's has it. The stabilizers in Pam's cream cheese are 412, which is guar gum, and 410, which is locust bean gum. Both of these are plant-derived thickeners that have been used in food production for centuries. Guar gum comes from the guar bean, which is a legume grown primarily in India and Pakistan. Locust bean gum comes from the seeds of the carob tree, which grows around the Mediterranean. Neither of these is a phosphate. Neither of these has been flagged by the European Food Safety Authority as a concern for kidney function. They are simple, natural thickeners that help give the cream cheese a smooth, spreadable consistency without resorting to the industrial phosphate emulsifiers that the big brands rely on. And the price is right too. Pam's cream cheese is one of the most affordable options on the shelf, which means you are getting a cleaner, more honest product for less money than you would spend on Anchor or Meadow Fresh. That is what we call a no-brainer down here. Pam's is available at New World, Pack and Save, and Foursquare, and every single one of those stores should have it in the chilled section. Number 4 on the list of cream cheeses worth buying is Philadelphia Original Cream Cheese in the block format. Now I know what some of you are going to say. Philadelphia is an American brand. Why would I be recommending an American product in New Zealand when we have got our own dairy industry? And that is a fair question, but here is the thing. The Philadelphia cream cheese sold in New Zealand is actually made in Australia, and its ingredients list is genuinely cleaner than most of the New Zealand-made alternatives sitting right next to it on the shelf. That is a fact that made headlines when a New Zealand Herald columnist pointed it out, and it is still true today. Philadelphia Original Block contains milk, cream from milk, milk solids, salt, vegetable gum in the form of locust bean gum, and starter culture. That is 6 ingredients. Real milk, real cream, real salt, a natural plant-based thickener, and most importantly, a real starter culture. This is actual cream cheese made through actual fermentation. No phosphate emulsifiers, no sodium alginate, no added flavor, no sugar, no preservatives, just cream cheese made the way cream cheese is supposed to be made. The locust bean gum is the same natural carob-derived thickener we saw in the Pam's product, and it does a perfectly good job of maintaining the texture without any of the health concerns associated with phosphate-based mineral salts. Now I do want to make an important distinction here. I am specifically recommending the Philadelphia Original Block, which comes in the 250-gram foil-wrapped block. Some of the other Philadelphia formats, particularly the individual portions and the spreadable tubs, have slightly different ingredient lists that may include preservatives like sorbic acid, additive 200. So if you are going to buy Philadelphia, stick with the original block. That is the one with the cleanest formula, and it is the one that will give you the closest thing to proper homemade cream cheese that you can find at a mainstream supermarket price point. It works brilliantly for cheesecakes, it spreads beautifully on toast and bagels, and it has that slightly tangy, cultured flavor that only comes from genuine fermentation. When a brand from the other side of the world is making a cleaner product than some of our own Kiwi brands, that should tell us something about where our priorities have gone wrong. Number 3 on the list of cream cheeses you should be putting in your trolley is the Woolworths Block Cream Cheese. And yes, I can already hear the confusion. Did I not just tell you to avoid the Woolworths cream cheese spread back at number 5 on the skip list? I absolutely did. But here is the critical difference that most shoppers miss entirely. Woolworths sells 2 completely different cream cheese products, and they are about as similar to each other as a campfire grilled snapper is to a frozen fish finger. The Woolworths cream cheese spread is loaded with phosphates, sugar, and 3 different preservatives. The Woolworths Block Cream Cheese, on the other hand, is a genuinely decent product with a much cleaner formulation. The Woolworths Block Cream Cheese contains pasteurized milk, cream, water, buttermilk powder, salt, whey powder, stabilizers in the form of locust bean gum and guar gum, starter culture, and acidity regulator in the form of lactic acid. Now, is it perfect? No, it is not. The buttermilk powder and whey powder are filler ingredients that you would not find in a truly artisan cream cheese. They are there to bulk out the product and keep the cost down. But here is what matters. This product contains a real starter culture. That means real fermentation. Real cheese making. The stabilizers are the same natural, plant-derived gums we have seen in Pam's and Philadelphia, not industrial phosphates. The acidity regulator is plain old lactic acid, which occurs naturally in dairy products anyway, and there are no preservatives, no added sugar, and no mysterious flavor additives. The Woolworths Block Cream Cheese sits at a very competitive price point, usually a bit cheaper than Philadelphia, and about the same as Pam's. It is widely available at Woolworths stores throughout the country, and it performs well in both cooking and spreading applications. Is it going to win any Artisan Cheese Awards? No, it is not, but it is an honest, reasonably clean product that does what cream cheese is supposed to do without loading you up with phosphate emulsifiers and synthetic preservatives. And in a market where most of the mainstream options are stuffed with additives, that counts for something. Just make absolutely sure you are picking up the block and not the spread. They sit right next to each other in the chilled section, and the difference between them is enormous. Number 2 on the list of cream cheeses that deserve a place in your fridge is Zany Zeus cream cheese. And this is where we start moving into a different league entirely. Zany Zeus is a boutique dairy company based in Lower Hutt, just north of Wellington, and they have been handcrafting artisan cheese and cultured dairy products since the year 2000. The company was founded by a bloke named Michael Matsis, whose Cypriot mother taught him the traditional art of cheese making, and who went on to earn a degree in food technology before turning his passion into a business. What started as a small operation making halloumi and feta for local cafes and restaurants has grown into one of New Zealand's most respected artisan dairy brands, with multiple awards at the New Zealand Champions of Cheese Awards, including gold medals and trophies across multiple categories. Zany Zeus cream cheese is made with cream, cow's milk, milk solids, xanthan gum, organic guar gum, and organic locust bean gum. That is it. No phosphates, no sodium alginate, no artificial flavor, no preservatives, no sugar, no mineral salts, just cream, milk, and 3 natural plant-based stabilizers, 2 of which are certified organic. The product is made using genuine artisan methods with a real cheese culture, and the result is a cream cheese that tastes noticeably different from the supermarket brands. It has a tangier, more complex flavor profile, a smoother, silkier texture, and a freshness that you simply cannot replicate with industrial emulsifiers and added flavorings. What makes Zany Zeus particularly special is their commitment to organic production. They use the term Zorganic for their organic range, and they believe that organic dairy should be affordable and accessible, not just a premium luxury for people with deep pockets. Their cheeses are handcrafted to perfection using New Zealand organic milk, and as they say on their own website, if you look at the ingredients list of any of their products, you will not see nasty additives, artificial colors or flavors, or 18-syllable chemical preservatives. Nothing but wholesome foods you would feel good about serving your family. That is a philosophy that the big brands could learn a lot from. Zany Zeus cream cheese is available at selected supermarkets, specialty food stores, and through their online shop with delivery available to all major towns across New Zealand. It costs a bit more than the mainstream brands, but when you consider that you are getting a genuine, handcrafted, organic cream cheese made by award-winning cheesemakers using traditional methods and clean ingredients, the extra cost is more than justified. This is cream cheese the way it is supposed to be made. And number one on the list of cream cheeses that you absolutely must try is the Cheese Barn cream cheese from Matatoki. If Zany Zeus represents the premium end of artisan cream cheese in New Zealand, then the Cheese Barn represents the absolute pinnacle. This is a family business run by Kathy and Kelvin Haig, who established their operation in Matatoki, which is a small settlement south of Thames on the Coromandel Peninsula, way back in 1998. Kelvin is the principal cheesemaker, supported by Kathy and a small, dedicated team, and between them they have been making award-winning cheese for more than 25 years, in a part of New Zealand that is as beautiful and unspoilt as anywhere on earth. The Cheese Barn cream cheese is BioGrow Organic certified, which is the gold standard of organic certification in New Zealand. BioGrow is an independent, not-for-profit certifier that has been operating in New Zealand since 1983, and their certification process is rigorous, thorough, and internationally recognized. When you see the BioGrow logo on a product, you know that every stage of production, from the pasture the cows graze on to the finished product in your fridge, has been independently verified to meet the highest organic standards. And the ingredients list reflects that commitment completely. The Cheese Barn cream cheese is made with no artificial additives, no chemicals or sprays, no antibiotics or growth hormones, and no added thickeners or preservatives. Let me repeat that because it bears repeating. No added thickeners or preservatives. None. Not even the natural plant-based gums that Zany Zeus and Pam's in Philadelphia use. This is cream cheese in its purest, most unadulterated form. It is unhomogenized, which means the fat globules have not been mechanically broken down and forced into uniformity. It is gluten-free. It is paleo-friendly. And it is made from the milk of cows that graze on organic pastures in the Hauraki Plains, one of the most fertile dairy regions in New Zealand. The Cheese Barn has been a family business for more than 2 decades, and their cream cheese reflects everything that is good about small-scale, artisan dairy production in New Zealand. When you buy a tub of Cheese Barn cream cheese, you are not buying a product that was formulated in a laboratory by food scientists trying to find the cheapest way to make something taste vaguely like cream cheese. You are buying a product that was made by hand by people who care deeply about quality, who know their cows, who know their pastures, and who understand that real cream cheese does not need 4 different phosphate emulsifiers and an artificial flavor to taste good. It just needs good milk, good cream, proper fermentation, and the skill and patience of a real cheesemaker. You can find the Cheese Barn cream cheese at their farm shop in Matatoki, which is open 7 days and includes a lovely cafe where you can sit down and enjoy their cheeses fresh, or you can order online for delivery. If you are ever on a road trip through the Coromandel, stopping at the Cheese Barn is not just recommended, it is practically compulsory. And once you taste their cream cheese, spread thick on a piece of warm toast with nothing else needed, you will understand why everything else on the supermarket shelf tastes so ordinary by comparison. Look, I am not trying to be dramatic about all this. I am not saying that eating Meadow Fresh cream cheese is going to send you to the hospital or that buying Anchor is some kind of terrible crime. But I am saying that when you have got clean, honest options available on the same shelves, there is no good reason to keep buying products that are loaded with phosphate emulsifiers and chemical additives that the European Food Safety Authority itself has flagged as potentially harmful. New Zealand has some of the best dairy in the world, and there are cheesemakers out there, people like the Hayes at the Cheese Barn and Michael Matzies at Zany Zeus, who are proving every single day that you can make brilliant cream cheese without resorting to industrial shortcuts. All it takes is good ingredients, proper technique, and a bit of respect for the people who are going to eat the final product. That is not too much to ask. I am a grandpa, and grandpas worry. Look after yourself.